On this week's episode, I'm going to explain why yachting as we know it is over. And I'm Doug. Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for watching Yacht Industry News, The Bottom Line. Yachting as we know it is over. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you, but we're in a brave new world, and everything has changed. I'm going to explain why things have changed, and hopefully at the end of the show, you'll understand what I'm trying to say, because it's very complicated. Before I do that, because this is an opinion piece, I want to give you what I very rarely do, is my background. I'm ex-Coast Guard. I served on vessels over 300-400 feet long, out in the ocean. I was also a law enforcement officer in the Coast Guard, doing on the smaller boats, doing boardings, drug interdiction, stuff like that. After that, I got into yachting. I have been in yachting for the past 30 years. Since I was 26 years old, I've been a captain of global boats. So I am talking from experience. I have the ability to look back and see the changes. Take it for what it's worth. This is just my opinion, but frankly, I think that there are some good points here. First of all, why do I think yachting as we know it is over? Yachting has tripped a little. And we're having problems in the crew sector, we're having problems in the owner sector, and we're having big problems in the captain sector. And this industry is a luxury brand vacation experience. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to talk about owners more in a minute, but owners don't care. I'm telling you right now, they don't care about all this. They're tolerant about it, but you guys are confusing that with approval. But let's start. New crew coming in. What are new crew? 0, 5 years. They think it's below deck. The new crew is seeing the show and go, I want to do that. Big bucks, partying all the time. I'm jumping cabins, having sex with everyone. And then when I'm not doing that, I'm up in the jacuzzi getting drunk. Then after the charter, I got a big Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van, picks the whole crew up, and we go out partying. Let me explain something. That's reality TV, not reality. What the problem is new crew are coming in and they expect this sort of environment. They're not getting it, and new crew are getting depressed. We're having mental health issues. They are walking off boats. They're like, you guys are nuts. They bounce. Their perception of yachting is not anywhere near what it really is, and it's creating a problem for them and for the owners. I'll give you a couple examples. Below deck, the charters are 3 days long. That's very rare in the yachting industry. Usually they're a week. Below deck, when they're out having their $5,000 dinner, there's a whole nother crew cleaning the boat. This doesn't happen either. On below deck, everyone's bouncing from cabin to cabin, and every time there's nobody on the boat, they're falling down drunk up on the fly bridge in the jacuzzi and falling downstairs. This is probably grounds for dismissal on a normal, properly run yacht. We are in the customer service business. We are captains are the seagoing butlers. Stewardesses are I'm sorry, I don't want to insult anyone, but they are the servers. Bartenders, servers, housekeepers of the industry. It's just the way it is. Yachting can be a very lucrative and very satisfying career if you understand what it is. A couple of problems right now with the new crew coming in is everyone gets a trophy. Head of department, chief mate, first officer. I hear this all day long. I can tell you firsthand, owners don't care. If you're calling yourself a HOD, head of department, you're on a 110-foot boat as a stewardess, and you're the only stewardess, you're not the head of any department, okay? You are there to serve drinks, and that's all the owners want. If you're going around calling yourself chief officer, first officer, chief mate, whatever you want to call it, on a 110, 120-foot boat, and there's one guy underneath you, you're not qualified. Now, why is this a problem? I don't care what you guys call yourself, all right? The problem is new crew coming in consider this an elevated position, and then when they go to get their next job, they ask for a ton more money, and they go around going, I'm chief officer, and they're giving the impression that they have all the experience, and they don't. That's what's tripping everybody up. It's tripping everybody up to the point where captains and crew these days, or captains and owners these days, are actually asking for 2 years experience on an entry-level position. They're asking for licensing for deckhands. Everybody's going, why do they need this? Because you guys have elevated yourself artificially. You've given yourself positions, or the captain has, that aren't really legitimate. You've raised yourself up, so the owner is raising that bar up because, quite frankly, your experience level's still here, and the owners are hoping that even with that license or that experience that you're here. This is the owners fighting back and the captain's fighting back. It's self-inflicted. There's no such thing as co-captain. unless the owner sits two captains down and say, you're a captain and you're the captain. You can't be the mate and say co-captain. I see so many resumes. I was a captain of this, captain of this, captain of this. I call, he goes, no, he was the mate. I ask him, why do you call yourself captain? Well, I had a license and I was working on a boat. That's not a captain. Matter of fact, there's only one master of the boat. Anywhere, I don't care how important chefs think they are, okay? The captain, the master of the vessel, is the last person in charge. This is a monarchy, not a democracy. It doesn't flow well in the whole happy-go-lucky situation we are and everybody gets a trophy, but unfortunately that's the case. Another problem is because new crew are coming in and they don't understand the situation, well, I have to get underway. You know, I'm not going home every weekend. What's the deal with that? This is yachting. Nobody wants to get underway anymore because they are misinformed going in. Let's talk about owners. A crew are confusing owners' tolerance with acceptance. Let me explain that. Oh, my boss doesn't care if I have tattoos. Oh, my boss doesn't care if we do this. My boss doesn't do that. That is called tolerance because the owners don't want to cause a fuss. They're here for a vacation and they just want to have a good time. You guys are confusing that with acceptance. All right. Every owner's different. Yes, there are owners that don't mind tattoos, but just because the owner is tolerant of you when you're on board does not mean you did a good job. All right. That doesn't mean you're getting a letter of reference. And a lot of new crew are like, I didn't get a letter of reference. I called the owner up. He doesn't answer my call because the owners are not your friends. I gotta stress this. Owners are your employers and they don't care what you do unless, back up a second, you've been on the boat for years, you've grown a relationship. That's completely different. You're on a boat for a season or half a season. I'm sorry. You know, owners are like, well, who was that guy again? What was their name? You think that they have you on the top of their mind. The top of their mind is, I'm going on vacation. I want the boat here. I want somebody to clean my beds. I want good food. And I want to drink when I want it. That's it. Okay? The crew right now are fighting that. We need to be acknowledged as people and all this other stuff. Owners are tolerating this, okay? I know more owners that have sold their boat because of crew problems, not because they didn't like the boat. I've been told this firsthand by owners. Captains. If you were a captain 20 years ago, you would have to have a ton of experience. Right now, you don't need any experience. I would say up to 130 feet, 140 feet. You can get your license in 2 weeks. Georgia, who edits and produces the show, she's an instructor there. Shakes her hand. Congratulations, Captain. That is a symbolic handshake. You're not a captain on a boat to begin with. You're the master. It's like getting a driver's license. Doesn't mean you're a good driver. Just means you're legal to do it. But for some reason, everyone who gets a license thinks they're instantly a captain. They're not being accurate with themselves, and what they're doing is they're getting themselves into situations where they get fired. I see this constantly. Captain, got a great job. Oh my God, congratulations. A week later, looking for work. Anybody know anybody who needs work? If you're looking for work on Facebook, first of all, you're not doing something right. Okay? You have to look into yourself and see if you are really as experienced as you're putting yourself off. First officer, chief officer on what? 120 footer. You don't even have a license, dude. It's an insult to, all this is, by the way, is an insult to the shipping guys right here that actually have a chief mate's license or and serving. You don't get a chief officer's license. You get a chief mate's license in the United States Coast Guard, and you serve as chief officer. That's the way it works. Okay? It's an insult to them. And it's an insult to yourselves. There's no substitute for experience. Again, this is why yachting is not the way we knew it. Back then, you needed to know Celestial. When I took a boat, I got the job because I knew Celestial, and I was 26 years old and the boat was going transatlantic. You don't need that now. Everything's computerized. Bow thruster, stern thruster, digital mapping, chart plotting, everything. There's an alarm going off. The job's gotten a lot easier, and it's allowed a lot of people come in without the experience. It's frustrating the owners, okay? So you got to be true to yourself on your experience. What do we do from here? Where do we go? All of these three things are colliding together. New crew, captains that are not qualified, owners who are tolerant, but at the same time, they're like, you know what, when you leave, you leave. Don't expect me to give you a Christmas present. And everybody's getting pissed off. Yachting, as we know, it's over. I've been doing this a long time. We have to come together as a team, as a industry. Older crew need to train a younger crew. We need to do a better job of interviewing. At the interview, you gotta go, you're gonna be gone for 4 months. You okay with that? I've had a crew member. at the interview. So we're not getting drinks when you want a cocktail while I'm interviewing you? She's like, yeah. She actually, I said, this is a dry boat. She actually said, so I have to bring my own alcohol? You have to train the crew at inception on what they're going to get themselves into. Okay? The owners, unfortunately, look, they buy a boat, they're sold one bill of goods from the brokers and all that. Our job is to make sure they're happy. If you do that, forget about all the titles. You'll be awesome in yachting. Captains need to take a step back. All right. If you are flatlining, you know what a flatlining captain is? This guy got a 100-ton license 30 years ago. Has never moved up the ranks. He always bitches about wages. He always bitches about finding work. He's now 40, 50, 55-year-old guy running 60, 70, 80-foot boats, maybe even 100-foot boats, and always bitching about money and always walking around going, I got 30 years experience. Dude, nobody cares how much experience you have. You're only as good as your last job. All right. The reason why that's frustrating for owners is because they don't need someone with 40 years experience. They need someone with 5. Okay. If you chose not to go up the ladder and make more money, don't blame the owners. Okay, that was your choice. Anybody in this industry, if you want to make more money, you got to move up the ladder. Bigger boats, more responsibility. Please, let's slow down on the giving everybody a title in lieu of experience or in lieu of them moving up the ladder. And I think that will help the yachting industry. It's getting more automated. That's where it's going. So I don't have all the answers on what we need to do, but what I do believe we need to do is start fulfilling the owner's needs as they request them, not what your perception of what your job should be. Because every yacht, every position on every yacht is slightly different than the other. It's that simple. I hope I got my point across. It's a hard one to do. The industry has been something that has been a joy to me for my whole life, and I don't want to see it go anywhere, and I'm here to help. So that's it. I'm Doug. By the way, Chelsea's on vacation. I'll see you next week.